Um, I'm just trying to get the stream set up, and I'm not 100% sure if it's working. So if you can see this at this point, it looks like you can. So that's exciting. Alright. Yeah. Okay. Looks like we're going. I'll just say hello to everyone. Unsure of how many people will actually show up, but if no one does, that's fine, because I believe, have this set up to save afterwards, and if so, then people can watch it later, and if people do show up, that'll be really cool, so just hang on a second. Just gonna make my announcements about the stream. I've never streamed my art on YouTube, or actually at all before, so it took me a few minutes to figure it out, so I didn't actually make the announcements yet. So I'll just do that quick so that if anybody does want to show up. And then maybe I'll just go over some like rules and things and let you know what we're going to be up to. So just hang tight for a little bit, everybody. I'll get to some drawing in a few minutes here. How's everybody's day going? Mine's been pretty good so far. Also, sorry if you can hear our fan in the background. It's a little noisy, but I think when I checked before it wasn't too bad. So hopefully that's still the case. And I'm gonna need just a few more seconds, guys. I'm really sorry. Almost ready. So sorry. Alright. Announcements are made. And I think I should be good to go. I will try and check on the chat every so often, but especially since there's no one in there right now, I'm just going to go ahead with the drawing for now. We have this fun little caterpillar friend here. Here, let's just, because I think this will be cute. He's waving to you all, welcoming you to the stream. He's happy you're here. So I figured what I would do today, though that's not the one I want to start with, is I thought I would do a little bit of like a tutorial kind of thing, because I haven't really done that with you guys yet. And I was going to show you sort of how I approach drawing cat faces, and I may do like more cartoony version and a more realistic version, since I do have two different styles. So the main thing when drawing cats, especially if you want to do them realistically, is to get a reference. So you gotta kind of break it down into shapes. So to show you what I mean, like when I draw a cat, I usually draw, oh, I didn't want that color. I usually draw like the circle of the face first, and then you have to pay attention to where the eyes are. So his is just like slightly above, halfway up his face, so I'll usually do like a line down. Oh, and just quickly, in case anybody thinks I'm going to trace this, I'm totally not. I'm going to do my actual drawing over here. I just figured I'd break it down for you on an actual image to show you like how my brain breaks it down when I draw. So I'm not going to trace this and like do this as a drawing. This is just to show you. And then I would do like my little line for where the eyes would be, and then I tend to start my drawings in the nose, so I'll do the nose shape and kind of break up the face by the expression here, go for the eyes and ears. So let me just erase those lines off of him, and then we'll get going. Let me just pop onto the chat real quick just to see if I need to say hello to anyone yet. Nope, no one yet. That's okay. Alright. Hopefully it's a good drawing day today. I guess we'll find out soon. I think it'll be alright. And normally when I'm doing my line work and stuff, I would do like a much, like I would do the pencil, which is a lot like cleaner. But for sketches, I kind of like the softer marker, so I think I'll go with that. Oh, I totally didn't erase all that off his face either. Whoops. Alright, there we go. So I would start with, like I said, I would get, oh, and now I'm on the pencil tool. Back to the marker tool. Maybe let's make that a tiny bit bigger too. So here we go. I would start off making a circle shape for the face. Something really appealing about the marker, like I really like clean art and line art, so I would never use this to do my line art, but for sketching it's so appealing. So close to a circle, it doesn't really matter if you get it perfect, and do that center line because he's looking straight on at us. I'll maybe have to do some profile tutorials at some point, but I'm not as good at profiles, so yikes. And then slightly over, like not quite halfway up the face, like a little bit higher. And then I would draw the little shape for where his muzzle's gonna be, like this. And I put a little nose in. I guess I'll do this in my style first. So maybe what I'll do is I'll leave this up so I don't have to draw this part twice, and then I'll do the rest of my sketch on top, so that way when I do my style and then my realistic style, I don't have to redraw this part. So my more cartoony style tends to give more of a V-shaped nose. I find that at least in my style, but maybe this is a general rule, that if I do like a straight across nose like that, they tend to come out looking more canine than feline, which is not what I'm going for. So I tend to do like either V-shaped noses or like hearts. And he's got kind of like a big frown look going, so we'll keep that in here. It can be our grumpy cat. And then the cheeks are kind of round, but they sort of come to a point where they meet the mouth. And then he's got just sort of a rounded chin at the bottom, and then I usually in my own style I would do like this little line here to show that there's kind of a, like below here would come out and then above here would go up for the head. But his isn't super defined here, so when I do my realistic style I may not do this part, I may just follow it into the eyes. And then we'll get some eyes in here. So his eyes come from the bottom here, and they're sort of flatter on top like this, and then come down like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's a decent drawing day, so that's lucky for me for doing my stream. And then I always like to put in a bit of an eyebrow. I know that like most cats don't actually have like a defined eyebrow. Like they have the eyebrow bone, but like the eyebrow is in a separate color. But when you're drawing, especially in like a cartoony style, there's so much of the expression that can be communicated through eyebrows. So I do like to put eyebrows in. Plus they're just fun. You can, you know, it can add a lot to the character design too. Like if you have really big, fluffy eyebrows or really thin, narrow, kind of, oh gosh, kind of glaring eyebrows. I'm probably going to do that a lot where I click on the pencil tool by mistake because I use it a lot more often, so it's just sort of like my fingers automatically go there. And he's got a little bit of this going on underneath his eyes. So now I do kind of a cheekbone, which his is fairly close to where his fluff is, but sometimes, like especially on fluffier cats, the hair might come out like, you know, really far. So it helps to define the cheekbone, as well as the cheekbone is another thing that can give a lot of character to your cat depending on what shape you make it. As you'll see, I tried to pick like a variety of cat breeds to kind of draw from today. So you'll notice they have like different shaped cheekbones and how that sort of changes their appearance. And then ears. Ears are super fun to draw. They give a lot of personality as well. So usually I just do like a little forehead line because usually the head actually isn't a perfect circle. It kind of comes up like there's a smaller part here and then a little bit more like this than a perfect circle. So I'll do the little forehead line and then the ears will kind of help fill in some of this shape here. It's got nice, tall, not huge ears, but just nicely proportioned large ears that sort of come down here. This is the style that I found best for doing like cartoony ears because it's pretty easy to do and looks sort of semi-realistic. So that's nice. I'm gonna check on the chat again in a minute. I'll have to do my best to actually remember that that's a thing that I should do this time around. So let me just check that before I move on to the neck. Alright. Now we'll move on to the neck. So he's got kind of two parts of his neck. The first one is you can kind of see the fur comes down and then goes in a little bit. And that's both, obviously the stripes there accentuate it, but also it's like the shoulder kind of starts here, so it's a little more robust than just the fluff that's over the neck. So, and I did it again. So we go down like this. He's really giving us like a hardcore sort of I'm better than you like grimace. This line's a little thicker, but I actually kind of like that expression. So even though that's not super realistic to how it is there, I'm not going to change it. This is my cartoony one anyways, so it's okay. And I don't think one style's better than the other. Cartoony has its merits. Realistic has its merits. I enjoy being able to do a bit of both. I think my realistic style will be harder to do on this canvas and with my tablet, but I will still try because I said I would. And then I always like to give them a little bit of like a neck shadow. And then his shoulders just sort of come out a little bit more from the fur there, like so. He's also got a bit more of a look this way than this picture, but I think it's partially because I put his eyes looking that way, whereas this one the eyes are straight facing forwards. That's pretty much it. That's this guy. Let me give him a, oh no, I liked him better without that. Nope. Yeah, that'll work. And then he doesn't have whiskers, but just for the sake of this, I'll throw in a few whiskers. And then if you wanted to add in like some ear fluff, you could do that. And then obviously if I was going to finish this, I would then go in with like my pencil tool and like really mark out everything like this. Like get it super, you know, this is pretty messy. I'm just doing a really quick thing right now, but I'd get it like really nice and crisp looking, and then I'd go in and add my colors and everything. But yeah. Alright, let's move on to another one of the cats. And I'll leave these up in case I end up getting done the sketches faster than I thought, and I feel like kind of finishing one of these more. I'll just switch over here. Which one do I want to do next? Ooh, yes. And maybe for you guys, I'll try and do this one more realistically, because I feel like that would be fun. Oriental cats have such beautiful faces. I was just telling my husband this morning, they're kind of like the elves of cats. Just take a sip of water real quick. Oh yay! One of my friends is watching my stream. That's exciting. I didn't see you pop up. I'm not entirely sure how to actually see. It says I've got 2 congruent viewers, so you must be one of those viewers. But thanks a bunch for tuning in. I hope it's interesting. And it's cool that you're drawing at the same time. I usually do that when I watch other artists stream, and then often they ask to like, you know, share what you drew while you were watching my stream. So if you want to show me what you were drawing while we're drawing together, that would be cool. You know I love your art. Alright. Why is this brush so huge? Okay, so we're going to try and do this a little more realistically, which means I'm probably going to need to actually make my brush a little smaller. It feels like I don't have much space on this canvas, but alright, here we go. Ooh, that's a very light color. I'm going to darken that just a bit. There we go. So, for these guys, Oriental cats have like a very specific shape to their head, and it's almost like more of a triangle. Oh god, that's going out of the photo, but like it's more of a, almost like more of a triangle on the bottom and then a circle on the top. They've got like really strong cheekbones too, and usually really large eyes. So those are all important things to note if you're trying to draw a cat and make it look more like this kind of breed. So I'm going to try and do like maybe a little more of a that shape. I might also take some requests at the end of the stream if I end up having extra time. Maybe I'll like sketch some characters if anybody has any that they want me to draw. So if you do, feel free to like send a link in the chat, or if you're one of my friends, you could like DM it to me if you want, and I'll try and remember to check that after I finish this. Okay. And this one, like the other one was looking at us more straight on, so the other one was kind of more like this, but if you notice, this one's a little more like this situation. So we're going to be doing kind of more of like a downwards thing. And of course I'm not an expert on any of this. Like I did get a bachelor's of fine art, but it was not in drawing cats. So, you know, if you have other techniques or ways of doing it that work for you, that's totally cool. I'm just kind of, I guess I'm the expert on my own style. So this is just the way that I do it. And maybe that'll be helpful to some people. Maybe it won't, but I just figured I'd show you guys how I go about it. And I do pretty much always start from the nose. When I did my figure drawing classes where we drew models in university, I had an incredible professor, and she said that everybody usually has a bias for where they start drawing, and she would try and break or like confront us on our biases, because it was important to know how to start a drawing from every part on a person and not to pay specific attention to one area over the other. So for humans, my bias is the spine. I almost always started drawing from the spine, especially if it was facing towards me, because A, I think it's a beautiful part of the human body, but B, it also just really helped you capture like which direction the body is flowing based on the flow of the spine. So she made me stop doing that, which made it harder, but also it was nice to see that you can draw if you start from other areas. So my bias for cats is always to start from the nose and build outwards from there. And then they have pretty high eyes as well too. Their eyes are pretty high on their face, so we're gonna go like way up here. And I apologize if you hear me like moving around sometimes. I'm currently sitting on the floor drawing because it was the most comfortable space in my living room I could find to do this in, because every time I try and put my tablet on the same surface that my laptop is on to draw, it's terrible for my arm. It pushes my arm up really high and it ends up like ruining my neck and my shoulder for the rest of the day. So I have to try and be better and put my tablet lower than my laptop. So the only place I really had to do that where I didn't have to worry about my laptop falling, or my tablet like slipping off of my lap and falling onto the floor, was if my laptop is on my coffee table and then I sit on the floor, so there's nowhere for it to fall. So that's what I'm doing, but it is kind of making my legs fall asleep, so I may have to periodically readjust myself here. I'm discovering that my realistic style doesn't work very well. Either right now or like with my tablet, the eyes look way too cartoony. And I think maybe it would be better if I used like a more precise, like if I was using the pencil tool, or if I like zoomed way in, I could probably get more realistic looking eyes. So maybe I'll zoom in on this one in a minute and kind of tweak the eyes after I get the overall shape. Another really nice thing about a lot of Oriental cats is they're just ginormous ears. They're so cute. My twin sister, her favorite cats for a long time were hairless cats. And I never hated them. I don't hate many animals. I love almost all animals. But I was kind of like, well, if I'm gonna get a cat, I would want, you know, a soft, squishy cat. And then my family ended up going to a cat show. And I got to see some hairless cats in person, and one thing I learned is that there's more than one type of hairless cat. So like, the ones that my sister really liked were the ones with the really squishy, wrinkly faces, which are cute in their own way, but are not my favorite. But I saw these other ones that were more like these Oriental cats with the really long, elegant bodies, and they just had no hair, and oh my goodness, they were incredible. So soft, so cute, very regal looking. And like, you can put them in sweaters and they like to cuddle because they get cold easily, and that's just amazing. Another thing about Oriental cats is they tend to have, like, this is slightly exaggerated, but like if you look at the neck here, initially it tapers in quite a lot, and then they aren't quite as robust as the shoulders of other cats, so they tend to have like a very narrow kind of frame. Let me just finish this neck and then maybe I'll check on some comments real quick. What I didn't realize was streaming with YouTube is that your comments that you get are actually on a completely different tab. For some reason I was under the impression that it would like show up here on my screen like so and so says this while I'm drawing. So it makes a lot more sense now why some streamers and artists that I've watched mention having trouble keeping up with the chat or things like that. And this body is too small. But with the magic of digital art, we can kind of fix that. When I was rewatching my videos, because I have been rewatching them to try and see, like what I could improve on for the next times, or if I've made any mistakes or things. I noticed that in my first artwork of Gallo, his head is way too big for his body, and I didn't realize that until I was rewatching it. Sometimes seeing your art in a different perspective like helps. And so I was horrified to realize that. When I mentioned it to my husband, he was like, oh, well, I noticed that when you were first drawing it, but I didn't want to say anything on stream and like embarrass you. And while I do appreciate that a lot, I was also like, why didn't you tell me? Now it's been uploaded to the world and everyone can see that his head is way too big. It's okay though. My art is far from perfect and far from where I'd like it to be, so there's always going to be mistakes to be made and things, and that's okay. Alright, let's see if zooming in can allow me to get some more realistic eyes on this cat. We'll see here. And maybe a smaller brush. Alright. That's the wrong tool again. Alright. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Animals are my favorite thing to draw, and they're the thing that I've drawn for the longest. I'm still pretty terrible at humans, but I would like to get better at them, and I should practice them more. It's interesting, I found that when I was in university, even though I didn't do a lot of my cartoony art very much, I still got better at it. It's kind of like practicing one thing in art makes you better at learning how to see any reference you're looking at. So like even when I spent an entire summer semester drawing humans in my figure drawing class, after that class I got better at drawing from like animal references, and I think it's just because those classes teach you how to see what you're looking at and break it down into shapes, and that applies to many things. So that was kind of a cool benefit, was that even though I didn't do a lot of my cartoony style stuff while in university, once I emerged from university I was still better. So that's pretty cool. Also, in my final year I did actually do some cartoony stuff. In my final year we got to do our grad projects, and we were kind of allowed to do whatever we wanted, so I illustrated a children's story. I think it's that those eyes are in the wrong place. I think that's what's actually bothering me more than anything, so let me try and adjust that and see. It's gonna look real weird for a minute, but yeah, no, that's better. I put them too high on the head. That was my mistake. But yeah, so in my last year of university I illustrated a children's story, and it wasn't cats, but it was birds. So I spent a lot of that semester drawing birds, and I had bird characters, and I never published the book, though I considered it, and several of my family members said that I should have, but obviously your family members can have good biases about your work, so maybe they think it's better than it really was. And it was not like a super lighthearted children's book, as the other thing. It was kind of based on some of my life experiences and stuff, so it was supposed to be sort of like an educational children's book, using like birds as like a friendly, non-threatening way. Okay, I think that's better. I think technically the eyes should still be tilted a little bit more. So if you notice, they're kind of like in a V, and mine are not as much of a V. But still, I'd say we did a pretty good job, and it's sort of semi-realistic. So I think I'll call that good. I'm just gonna move to the last one, and then I'll just check on my chat real quick here. Are the eyes about the requests? Because I just have one more sketch to do, and then I might open up the floor to requests. So if you wanted to send something in, that's great. Those Discord eyes or those eyes are used in our Discord a lot anytime anything interesting happens in the roleplay. So those always give me a big chuckle. Alright, so I just wanted to draw, because look at that beautiful face and that intense frown. It's kind of like when you draw humans, at least for me, I find that it can be harder to pick the shapes out of a human face than an animal face. So the more wrinkly the person is, the more shapes it gives you that are obvious to draw. Like I did a portrait of an old woman and I found that significantly easier. So the same can be true for animal faces. I mean, there's so many folds and creases in here, so, and it's so amusing. They're not my favorite kinds of cats, but they are incredibly humorous to look at. Okay. That's gonna be a bit too small. Okay. And these guys have really unique faces because their faces are really wide, so it's more of like an oval than a circle, and their eyes are usually right up near their nose, especially at this angle, and then they just tend to have like the tiniest little ears. So we'll do kind of more of an ovular shape. This kind of thing can actually help, and I use it when doing character design too, that like the different, even if you're drawing all the same breeds of cats, they can still have different face shapes. So like, you know, this kind of thing often reads as more of like a dopey friendly character. This kind of thing can be like kind of judgmental or old. Can make them really old too. Here, let's make this one like super friendly and approachable. There we go. Something very narrow can be like either like nervous or intelligent. And then also, of course, you know, what shape of cheekbones you choose to give them. So like, you know, if this one had very angled cheekbones, so now he looks a little emaciated. Versus like if you want to continue that nice, friendly, approachable thing, you've got those. There's so many things you can do with character design, and I think I might do another stream like this where I talk more in depth about how I actually design characters when I'm trying to make them look like their personality, or make them in their appearance intentionally deceptive, like you don't know their personality from looking at them. It's something I was horrible at a while ago. I had like same face syndrome, where all my characters had the same face in just different colors, and if you'd remove their colors, you'd have almost no way of telling them apart, and I didn't like that, so I watched some tutorials on like how other artists go about breaking same face syndrome, and I looked at different things like that, and I really worked on it hard to try and break that habit that I had. This kind of face shape is kind of what I imagine for Yellow Fang in the books. So every time I draw this face shape, I've seen so many good artists do renditions of Yellow Fang with this kind of breed. So I just always think of her when I draw them. That are like a big jowly dog, because these cats, like, this could be a bulldog, you know, easily. And then just really kind of grumpy eyes here. See what I mean? Like the nose technically is rounded, but it looks more like I'm drawing a bulldog here, whereas if I go in and erase that and then do like a diamond shape, it reads more cat, and I don't know if that's my style or something. I think cats do have a more diamondy nose than dogs, but it still doesn't seem as dramatic as the way that I have to draw them in order to get it to look like a cat instead of a dog, but that's okay. And then the eyebrows, I guess we'll do this more in my cartoony style too, so like the eyebrows would come like immediately off of the face here. And then just kind of, this would actually be a really amusing character to play. It would be so fun to draw. I'll put some cheekbones in here. I think its cheekbones are actually like even more, like they're not super round, they actually go more like this. But for the sake of the drawing, I think that the rounded cheekbones are really cute, so I'm gonna leave them like that. And get some grumpy lines here. And then a little forehead. So yeah, I think I was saying before, I've worked really hard to make my characters have physical traits that sort of line up with their personality and make them unique. There's so many things you can change: face shape, eye shape, nose shape, facial expression, shape of their fur, what breed you choose to go with, how muscular you make them. Like, that character design possibilities are just endless. But it also means it can be a bit overwhelming when you go to design a new character and sometimes you have an idea in your head of how you want them to look, and then it just doesn't work out, or it's just kind of intimidating because of how many possible traits there are for you to pick from. This cat looks like someone's angry grandmother. And I kind of love it. She's like the kitty pet on the block who does not want anyone on her lawn. So any warriors straying into the two-leg place had better watch out for a granny cat. And maybe she doesn't fight herself because obviously she's old and she can't be bothered, but maybe she has like an army of like younger cats who she raised, who like won't allow anyone to disrespect their grandmother, so if she's upset with someone, they'll go take care of them. She's like the grandma mafia cat. See, now I've gone and attributed a personality to her. I'm going to like her too much to just delete her. This was a mistake. And I suppose if she was a two-legged cat, we could do something like give her a pearl necklace, because she's the type of grandma who would absolutely wear a pearl necklace. She would be like, in her day, she was a show cat who was extremely successful. And so she deserves a pearl necklace, and her two legs now treat her like the queen that she is. There we go. Maybe let's just switch to the pencil for a quick second so I can give that some, maybe let's do it like this, some sparkle. Yes. And she would have like a glorious, overly fluffy tail, just ridiculously fluffy. Alright, she's beautiful. Alright, so, what time is it? Yeah, if you want to go ahead and, I don't know if you send me a character on Discord you wanted me to draw, or if you want to just drop it in the chat here. I'll pop onto Discord real quick and check. I don't have a lot of time left to draw today, so maybe I'll do a couple request sketches and or finish up this old lady cat. So, yeah, I think that'll be good. Turn face floof. It's not symmetrical and it's bothering me, and it would probably bother her, so there we go. We fixed it. I'm probably keeping her. She's magnificent. She'll need like an incredibly ridiculous, flowery show cat name at some point. Yes. Big old lady gangster grandma cat. Yes, exactly. She will have to join the roleplay at some point. She's too perfect. Oh, I'm just checking out your art right now. Oh, I love your style so much. Oh, that's so good. Alright, I had the references for your characters somewhere and I lost the link. So if you have like your toy house or whatever it is, I could see you typing. I can't. If you have your toy house or something and you want to resend it to me and I can pull up one of your characters on screen. And I'll get rid of these ones and I'll keep, maybe here, while you're doing that, I'm going to save old lady cat so I don't lose her. I'll save her as a sci file. Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. Let me just double check that's saved so I don't lose her. Oh god, I have so many windows open on my computer. Oh my goodness. I think that's it. I think that's here, let me, because I'll be very sad if I lose her. I'm gonna just call her Granny Cat. Alright, perfect. And then I'm just gonna pull up the rest of the references here. Well, let's get rid of some of this stuff. There's too much stuff open first. I don't want to make Sai mad at me. Oh, I don't know how to get rid of these without closing out everything. So maybe I'll just open another window or erase this one. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll erase everything on here and just use this one. Alright, let me see here. Let's get some of your characters open. Because you have so many nice ones. Ooh, you have some new ones in here since I've seen it last. That's really exciting. Oh wow. Yeah, I haven't seen some of these before. Or maybe I have, and I just don't remember it. Yeah, no, you know what, I think I have, but oh, they're so nice. Okay. I see a real fluffy lady, and I'm in the mood to draw really fluffy cats, so let me just, I think I'm gonna pull it up on my computer instead of on my phone because the only way I'm watching the chat is on my phone. So I won't be able to look at the chat if I have the reference pulled up on my phone, and plus it's just not as easy to reference from there. I can't pick colors and stuff, so. And I'm pretty sure that I have this set up so that the only window anyone can see that I have open is my painting software, so this shouldn't expose any of our personal Discord information. If it does, send me like a warning signal or something, but I think it should be fine. It's never shown any other windows before, so it should be okay. Alright, perfect. Looking at your new characters is making me want to make more characters, and I need to not do that. I have too many already, but some of them are going to go soon, because I have too many. And maybe some of them, maybe instead of making new characters, I'll just do like a redesign again of some of them, so I can get them into a place where I like them more. Okay. Let's do this. Not too big. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. And then I'm still getting used to Sai. I've only been drawing with it for maybe a month now. So it doesn't allow you to put references in like on your page how I like them as easily as Photoshop used to let me. So that's a bit annoying. That's okay. I like the program itself better, and I've wanted to use it for a long time. And I'm really glad that I'm able to digitally draw again. I missed it a lot. Okay. Alright, let's zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And I've totally put that on the same layer. That's not what I wanted to do, so we'll copy the layer, and then on this bottom one we'll erase this, and then on the top one we'll erase this, and that way they're on separate layers. Alright, so this should be this one. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we fixed it. Luckily I didn't get too far into the drawing before I noticed that. Okay, and she's got like a really cute tiny little nose. So that's adorable. Maybe I'll make her like unsure about something. I don't know what she's unsure about, but she's unsure. By the way, if you want me to credit you for like, obviously, this is your art. This is not my art. Everybody. If you want me to credit you, either in the like the description of the video or right now with my voice. Just let me know how you want me to credit you. And I will, because everybody should check out your art. And we've got circle eyebrows. I love a good circle eyebrow. They're so cute. Okay, I will make sure that when I upload this, well, I mean, I don't know how the stream gets uploaded, but I'm sure I'm still able to choose, like, the description and stuff. If for some reason I can't choose the description and stuff, because it's just gonna automatically upload after the stream's done, then I'll just make a comment in the YouTube and comment your credits and stuff. Because crediting artists is really important, everybody who watches this after. Because art takes a lot of work, and artists deserve to receive credit for the work that they do. Okay. And I don't think that this will get any kind of finished, like I'm probably not going to color it or anything. But it's just always fun to draw other people's characters. Oops. I don't know what time it is for you there. I think it's pretty, like, a lot later than it is here. I know you've been watching some of the videos, so I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to make it, because I didn't know how much later it was there, so I'm glad you were able to watch it while it was live. Feels a little nicer to talk to my screen when there's actual people listening. That's pretty nice. Somebody has done something that they did not like. I don't know what personality. What was this cat's name? Down Lily. I don't know what personality Down Lily is gonna have. So hopefully this kind of snooty picture is not too out of character. Alright, let's... that's the button I was looking for. And kind of... Yes, there we go. I'm going to assume, because they seem like sort of a fluffy cat, that they would have a fluffy tail. So we'll just add in a really big fluffy tail. Because I love drawing fur. Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay, good. I picked a good time for you. Alright, I'll have to remember that if I want you to tune in, that this is a good time to do this. And yeah, the streaming like this, talking to you, is much nicer. Talking by myself, um, I rambled a lot, and I made a lot of mistakes, but it's okay. It felt nice, especially the one where I talked about like my health issues, um, just to talk about it, I guess, even if no one else cares and watched and listened, it was just nice to get it out there, I guess. Okay, that's who this character was. There's so many cats in the group now that I sometimes forget who I've seen before. So I suppose this snooty expression would be a little bit out of character, but maybe if someone said something particularly rude about her apprentice, maybe that's why. Yeah. Um, and one of the things I really love about Psy that I didn't have in Photoshop is I now have a pen stabilizer, which is incredible for doing line art. So like instead of um, if I turn my stabilizer off for a minute, instead of trying to do a curve and having it be like, which is obviously exaggerated, I didn't just try and do a perfect curve. I can do decent, but like with the pen stabilizer on, even if you try and be really like squiggly, it just sort of slows the pen down for those of you who don't use pen stabilizers. And it's amazing. And I'm gonna do some line art because that's my favorite part of drawing. This could also be like an alternate universe scenario where like what if this character was just really like not very sweet but was actually kind of a jerk. Now you know what that would look like. Another thing I've been trying to do with my art is I have a tendency to make my line art really thick. Like normally I would do not that big. That would be ridiculous, but like um, something like this, which I actually don't hate and sometimes works well for my style, but for like some parts of the face especially, like it just tends to end up with the end product looking a little nicer if you use like a bit of a thinner brush. So I've been trying to do that, but it's hard for me. And I even have the same problem sort of in like drawing by hand, where I put a crazy amount of pressure on the pencil, and anytime I notice I'm doing it, I make myself stop, and then it only works for about a few minutes, and then I end up having a really tight, deft grip on my pencil again. So if I draw for too long, I usually end up hurting my arm, and like my arm gets really sore, and I have to take a break if I've been drawing nonstop for a while, which is not good practice. Nobody should do that. I have terrible posture and everything when I draw. It's horrible. My husband always gets on my case about that, but I feel like I can't draw any other way, which is probably not true, but it would just take some adjusting. Um, I don't like the way that eye came out. It's like, and it's a different posture for every type of art. So like when I do ceramic work, I can't sit. Like I always end up standing, even if I notice I'm standing and I put myself back into a sitting position. Like 15 minutes later, I'll like tune into my body again and be like, oh, I'm standing again. When did that happen? So I can't seem to do ceramics sitting down. And I don't know if it's because I'm really short. I'm only 5'1", so like standing gives me a better vantage point to do my work, or whether it's just something about the medium. But I've just never been able to sit while doing ceramics. And that's not like wheel throwing, that's just like it's just like sculpting with ceramics, which is what I prefer to do. I'm terrible at wheel throwing. I mean, I know it takes practice, but I was surrounded in university by lots of people who either kind of came to it naturally or had like lots of practice doing it, so they made it look so easy. And then when I went to do it the first time, immediately my clay ball, I didn't attach properly and it flew off onto the floor on the other side of the room. And I think that was the second time I'd ever done it. And I prefer to sculpt anyways. I don't really like to make functional sculpture work, like even when I was doing glass blowing. I didn't like to make plates and bowls and stuff. I liked to make like sculpted animals, or I would do like these glass pours, which basically made like clear pancakes of glass, and then I would tape them over with masking tape. And I know this eyeball looks freaky, by the way. It's just because I copied it. I am going to fix it in a second. But I would, with my glass, I would do the glass pour with clear glass. So it was like a big glass pancake. And then cover it with masking tape and then painstakingly cut a scene out of it with an X-Acto knife. And then sandblast whatever was revealed. So I'd have like a forest that was just sandblasted into it, which I thought was super cool. And I much prefer doing that to making bowls and stuff. Like with my ceramics, I've made like a chess set, like for playing chess, but it was just one of each of the pieces, so it wasn't like functional. But it was like an actual king and queen, so like a king with a robe and a queen with a dress, and that was pretty cool. Does that still look weird? Oh no. I don't like these eyes. They looked fine in the sketch. What is happening? Artist problems. Okay, we're gonna try something else. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. Yeah, let's. Okay, yeah, that looks better, I think. I've recently been doing this new thing where I just draw one eye and then copy it over so I don't have to try and match eyes, because that's always horrible. But for some reason in this one it was just making them look bizarre, so I think this is better, except for I think this one needs to be a little bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. Okay, yes. I was watching a stream from an artist earlier who I watched draw the same line like 100 times to get it exactly perfect. It was like what I'm doing right now, where you like draw it and you're like, no, I don't like it, and you just control Z it. But it was like 100 times for the smallest line, and I was like, come on, it looked great the first 700 times, and now here I'm gonna sit here doing the exact same thing until I get this head shape. Yeah, that'll work. That's good enough. I guess I'm just like more particular about my own work. So watching someone else draw, I'm like, what do you mean that line was great, but then in my own art, it's like, no, it wasn't curvy enough, or it wasn't spiky enough, or it didn't connect exactly where I wanted it to. So I'm gonna keep erasing it and redrawing it until it's perfect. Alright, your ear. Yeah, I really do enjoy sketching in that marker tool. That's quite nice. I am eventually going to have to get some more brushes inside. Right now I've only just got the couple that it kind of comes standard with, but I know you can download more, so I'll have to figure that out, as well as I'd like to try making some of my own too, because for doing things like backgrounds, which are my least favorite, I hate backgrounds, it would be nice to have some like pre-made grass brushes or things like I used to have to kind of speed things along. This picture has a slightly different style, I think, than I normally draw in, which is very interesting. I don't dislike it, but it's just very different. It's weirding me out a little bit, but not in a bad way. It just doesn't look like my art. Maybe it's something about how round the face is. So I think actually I just had an idea for what would be really cool. So either for the next stream or like a next video, depending on what I'm able to do and what you guys are interested in. You could suggest to me, like you could either choose yourself like some random warrior cats names, or you could like use one of those generators and just give me a few, and maybe that would be a good way to show you guys how I go about like designing a character based on like a name and trying to like give them a personality, is if you just give me some warrior names to pick from, and I'll choose maybe 2 or 3. I think 2 or 3 would be a good size, and then I'll just design some characters based on those. And it would probably be similar to the sketches in the start of this video. They won't probably be fully finished because that typically takes me a few hours to like fully sketch, draw, color a piece. So I don't think I'd have time to do that on the stream, though maybe if I started soon enough, but my setup would also need to be a little different, so we'll see. But I think that would be a good way to go about it. The only other way I can think of is if I just did kind of like the video that came up earlier today and sort of talked about my own characters, but I think it would be more fun to show you how I do it from scratch, because for the other characters I already have their designs made, so it would be a little bit like cheating maybe. It wouldn't be the same as me showing you how I do it from scratch. Alright, what color is she? And it's fun coming up with new warrior names too. I have a list on my phone of probably like 100 warrior names in case I need to make new characters, because I'm a little bit picky about the names of my cats. So I keep like a pre-made list, some of which I've done designs for already, so that if I need or want to introduce a new character, I've got some ready to go at any time with names that I already like. I feel like I always struggle to make these kind of eye stripes look correct. It's a marking that a lot of people's characters have that for some reason I feel like always looks silly when I do them, but hopefully it doesn't. Sometimes I find that my warrior cats suffixes for their names come to me right away, and sometimes I have to search through like huge lists to find ones that I like Meadow Sun, who I talked about on my earlier video. His was one of the ones that just came to me really easily because he's just a very friendly, calm, happy boy, so I thought sitting in a meadow in the sunshine was sort of a mental image that suited his personality a lot, so that one was really easy to come up with. Another one of my characters I may talk about at some point, who's from Shadow Clan Sootfall, his name also came to me really easily because he's a very grouchy, angry boy a lot of the time, but also with some good qualities, and somehow his name just sort of reminded me of a haunted character, like a character who's done a lot of bad things, but because their reasoning for it was good, they're sort of like very morally gray, which has been what I've been aiming for with his personality, is to make a character that's very morally gray, because generally I either play characters that are obviously evil or obviously good, so for him I really thought it would be fun to try and play a character where they're kind of both or neither. Like, he's done some terrible things, but his reasonings for doing them were good. Like, he attacked Sky Clan's old leader nearly to the point of killing him. He took, I believe, at least one of his lives at the lake, and the reason he did so was because, as far as he understood it, their clan leader had threatened Shadow Clan, and so he saw his actions as protecting his clanmates, which is what's important to him, is the lives of his clanmates specifically. And that obviously doesn't excuse his actions at all, especially since the Sky Clan leader hadn't threatened Shadow Clan. It was just a really poor choice of words that he made. But then on the other hand, you know, if Sootfall did it to protect his family, you know, you could argue that a lot of people would do a lot of things to protect their family if they needed to, so it doesn't make it okay, but it makes it a little more okay than if he'd just done it for fun. And like, Cloudbelly's name came to me really easily because he's just a big, fluffy, friendly cat. But then some of them were a little harder. Okay, you've got spots too. I gotta zoom in here. Okay, cute. I love a little freckle thing going on. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it anymore tonight. Both because I'm starting to lose my voice and because the husband's done work soon, so we're going to have to do supper and stuff. So maybe what I'll do is send you the sketch, and yeah, I'll probably call it a night here. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, that was really fun, and I'll probably try and do it again. And I hope you have a good rest of your night. And for anybody who watches this later, if you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, give the video a like, leave a comment. Again, for any suggestions for future videos, any questions you have for me, or if you want to submit any of those warrior names for the design challenge next, that would be really cool. Alright, thanks everybody. And yeah, alright, let me just shut this down for the night. Took a while to figure out how to start the stream. Now let's see how long it takes to end the stream. Alright, here it is. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye.